Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create a basic web page. Now to create that basic web page, what I have done is I have created a folder called your site, and in this site I have stored all the images which I need. For example, I have this banner which I'm going to use it as the hero image for my web page. If I go to the next one, you can see I have put all my social icons. Yeah, and also I have my logo over here. So what we're going to do is, since we have the images, we need to create the contents first. So I'm going to use notepad++ to create the web pages, and also I'm going to use CSS. For HTML5, I'm going to use all the new HTML tags so that you can get to know how to work with it. Just launch notepad++, and in this what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file. I'm going to go to file, save as, and in desktop I'm going to save it inside the site folder, and I'll call it as index.html. okay, so that's created. So what I'm going to do is, first let's launch this page in Chrome. Let's check out how that looks like. Okay, this is how our page looks like now. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the code, all the HTML contents in the beginning first, and then we will try to add the styles in the later part. I'm going to show you two major tools to use it. One is the notepad++, obviously, and the second one what I'm going to use is the inspect element. You can get that right over here in the browser. You can just right click and you can get that over here, inspect. So you can check out like what type of code you're putting in, everything. So all the styling we'll be doing from here. So let's create a tag. I'm going to create a tag called doctype HTML. So what this specifies is that we are writing an HTML document. So after that I'm going to type in HTML. Since we'll be using HTML, no, the browser doesn't know what kind of HTML you're creating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify a lang is equals to en. That means we're telling our browser or notepad++, our browser actually, so that we are creating an web page which is written in which has to read it in English. Now once we have done that, what we'll do is we'll create the head tag. So whatever we create in the head tag will be stored for the browser that can understand what we are putting inside this. So for example, let's just say this browser right now says index.html. that is the actual web page name what I'm creating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this index.html to a demo page. So to do that, just open up title tag, and inside that I'm going to type in demo colon, actually it's a pipe page. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a meta tag. Meta tag usually stores the information. So meta name is going to be description, and content is going to be whatever the content you put in. Now where does this highlight? See, for example, if you go to Google and check out for like web design institute in Bangalore or something like that, then if you scroll down you have all those big pages, and you can see if you type in web design institute in Bangalore, we are ranking on over here. But if you check out this, see, this is a heading which we usually see, and this is the URL which we actually get to know, and also this is some written things over here like the description. Now what this specifies is that this is the title tag which you're using over here. See, this is a demo page, and this is the URL, like whatever the page you're saving there, and this is the meta name description which you have put it over here. So I'm gonna call it as like let's just say simple web page for demo. That. So when I launch this, I put it on Google, it's going to show up like this. So it's going to show up demo.html in the heading over there, and the description would be specified over here. So it makes very important like what you're going to show to the people. So once we have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in the body tag. So inside the body tag I'm going to write in all the stuffs what I require. Since I will be using a lot of contents over here, so what we'll do is I'm gonna write everything in HTML5 documents. So let's give in some space, and here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write in a div with a class let's call it as container. Okay, so I'm gonna nest it all one inside the other. So what I'm gonna do is like inside this container everything is gonna be listed over there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write in header tag. Now header tag will usually consist of everything what a head portion has. For example, like logos, social icons, and navigation bars. All this stuff will be stored inside the header portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a div with a class, call it as logo, and then inside this I'm going to type in a href is equals to, for now I'm going to give it as hash. That's going to be the link of the image what I'm going to put in there. So I'm going to call it as img, which is the image, and I'm going to specify the src, which is the location it's going to put in. So right now, if you can check out our folder, we have an img folder. Inside this we have logo. Now if you can right click and go to properties and you can check out what extension does it have. It has a png extension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that over there. So we have the file inside img folder. So I'm going to type in img slash logo.png. I'm just going to close that. Let's see if it works. Let's come over here and can refresh that. We have our logo. So what I'm going to do next is after this logo I'm going to put another div with a class. Let's call it as social, and inside this I'm going to type in all my social icons. I'm going to put a href is equals to hash. There will be the hash will be replaced with the social links which you're going to put in there. So I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to call all the images here. So img src is equals to, and then here I'm going to specify, so img slash, just go to your folder and this is the Facebook icon. So I'm going to rename that, just copy that. It's a png file, so it's going to be .png. Let's see if it works. I'm going to come back here and refresh. There, I have my Facebook icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these things. Let's see how many icons do I have. 1 2 3 4 more. So I'm going to paste 1 2 3 4 more. Okay, so next we have Google Plus icons. So just rename that. You can copy that, you can get back over here, paste it, and then we have Instagram icons. So you can just copy that and come over here and replace it. And then we have a LinkedIn icon, so you can just copy that and come over here and paste it. And finally we have the YouTube icon, so I'm just going to copy that too. Let's come back over here and just paste it. Now if you can come back and refresh, see we have all the icons listed. Now by default images are inline elements. That means they're gonna side by side align inline. See, in line, they're gonna put it in line. But if you can see, the first image is on the top, which has not come this side on the other side, so on the top portion. That's because we have wrapped it around a div tag. If you can inspect it over here, you can see you have the div tag here which we created, div class logo. You can see over here we have the div class logo. Now since this is a block element, as soon as I select this, see, it shows the property of that particular div. It's a display block, so it will not allow any other elements to come beside it, so we have to style it in order to make it come beside. So once we have this, we have the logo and all those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a nav tag with a class, call it as menu. So inside this menu I'm going to use an unordered list, that's a ul, and I'm going to specify li with a href is equals to hash, and I'm going to type in home. I'm going to copy the same stuff, just paste in here. I'm going to call it as services. I'm going to call it as products. I'm going to call it as about us, and this one I'm going to call it as contact us. Okay, so come back and refresh. This is what unordered list does. It puts everything in bullets numbering. Since if you can see here, I used an anchor tag. What it does is the a tag actually wraps up the actual text as a link. So if I click this, like see right now I have just given hash, so it just shows up here over hash. You can check out here at the end, so it just shows up as hash. So what you're gonna do is I'm gonna add links to this so that it can navigate to some place and you can give some different page styles. Okay, my menu is done. So technically my header portion is done. So all this stuff I'm gonna repeat in all the web pages which I'm gonna create. So this is the header portion. So after this I'm gonna use a section tag. Again, I'm gonna give a class for this as banner. So now inside this I'm gonna add an img with an src is equals to the source which I'm be putting there. This is a banner. So let's see what property does it have. It is a jpg file. You can check it out over here. So it's banner.jpg. So I have that inside my img folder slash banner.jpg. Let's see this, come back and check it works. Yes, it shows up over here. So okay, we have the banner, we have the header. Next what we need is we need the main content. So I'm going to give a section tag. Inside that section tag I'm going to give a class which is equal to let's just specify this as content holder. Okay, so inside this content holder I'm going to put in an article. Okay, by default an article, like, okay, but not by default, but you have to put in some heading in a paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a class for this article. I'm going to call it as content. Okay, so inside this I'm going to use an h1 tag which I can, and I'm going to type in lorem. Okay, I need some dummy text over there, so I'm going to go to Google and just type in lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum is a dummy text, so you can use this dummy text in your web page if you're creating a demo page, or if you just want to put in like dummy contents, and if your contents are not ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this line as the heading and I'll paste it inside the h1. I'm going to use the p tag here, that's the paragraph, and I'm going to copy this text. I'm going to paste it over here. It's a pretty lengthy page, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down for you. In HTML, blank spaces don't matter. So like, see, I have given so many enters over here and I'm given so much of spacing, but it doesn't matter over here. It's going to show up in a big line because blank spaces don't matter in HTML. So once I have the paragraph, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the same paragraph and paste it again, because I need two paragraphs, so that we can make it look much more better. So since I have this article, so that's wrapped up inside the content holder. So after this article, the content, I'm going to use an aside tag and give a class, call it as sidebar, and then I'm going to put that inside, and actually after that sidebar I'm going to put another list inside. I type in eli a href. Actually I have already made this as a menu bar on the top, so you can figure out a way. So I'm just going to copy these stuff and put it. It's more like a sidebar, which you can put it for like calendar, or you can specify a lot more other stuff inside. It's up to you, like what you want to specify. I already have one that's mentioned. Yes, I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay, I can hold this and just push it this side. Okay, if you can come back and refresh it, that we have menu bar over here and we have a sidebar over here. Now since we have the content holder ready, I'm going to put in the final part, that is the footer. So we have a footer tag with a class, we'll call it as footer. So inside that footer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify 4 boxes. So it's going to be div with the class, let's just call it as box. Let's close that. And inside this I'm going to copy the same stuff. I'm going to paste in over here, but instead of these links I'm going to call it as dummy link, because you can add any link you like over here. For example, it might be a social networking links, or you can add in your profile links or recent articles which have been created. You can just specify all those stuff. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. So they're all dummy links. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and I'll paste it 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 and 4. Okay, so inside this box I'm not going to use the unordered list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an address tag. So what an address tag does is it specifies that is an address. Now it makes easier for Google to understand that is the location place, and you can Google can understand that that is an address, and if you're looking for something or some address somewhere in Google, it will show up all that. So inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in our address. I'm going to type in Zinfomatic over there. There. Okay, this is our address. I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this text, come back over here. I'm going to put in h3 tag, paste it there. I'll put in a paragraph tag, and inside this I'm going to put my address there. I'm just going to break this down. Okay, and after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another p tag, and here I'm going to use my email ID. So I'm going to use a href. I'm just going to give a hash because that's going to link to my email ID, and I'm going to call it as contact at zinfomatic.com. Then I have my phone number. It's going to be a href is equals to hash, and I put in +91 897 102 8395. That's my phone number. So what you're going to do is I'm going to specify here as mail to, and I'm going to specify the same text what I have here. So if somebody has an email application installed on their computer, they can directly click on this link and they can open up their email application. And same goes for the telephone number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it as TEL. I'm going to give a colon and just paste it over there. I'm going to show how this thing works. If I refresh here, you can see we have this dummy links and we have this thing. So if I click on this one, that's going to launch up my mail application. Okay, and if I click on this one, pick up an app. I don't have a phone app, but if you do this in the mobile phone, it's gonna open up your dialer and you can easily dial it. Okay, see, we have this much. So this is the footer. Like, footer was carrying most of the stuff here. Like, where's the footer? Yeah, here's the footer. So just scroll back up. So okay, we have these stuff. So after this footer, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another div with the class. I'm gonna call it as copy. So what it's going to do is going to show some copyright status, like what is my website about. No, like it's all rights reserved to copyright subject, no, 2017, whatever it is. So here I'm going to write in like copyright, and I need that C icon. If you can see that, you can go to Google and you can type in copyright. See, you will get that icon over there, a tiny icon which shows that. So copyright symbol, yeah, there it is, this one. So I need this one. So to do that, we can simply copy this one and paste it, but that would be just bad. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use an HTML entity. So it's ampersand copy copy. Okay, and it's going to be copyright 2017. I'm going to come back over here and refresh. I can see that. See, we got that. Okay, we have the web page ready. So next what we're going to do is we are going to style this. Okay, now it's always recommended to use an external style sheet. So we're going to create an external style sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create in desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. It's called as CSS. This is where I will be storing all my CSS files. So let's minimize this. Let's create a new file, and I'm going to save this as in CSS. I'm going to save this as style.css. Just click on save. Okay, now we need to link this file in HTML, and you have to do it in the head tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify link relative to style sheet, and the href, that is the link where it is located. It's located under CSS folder, and the name is style.css. Okay, now let's check if this thing works. Let's come back and refresh. I'm gonna right click and view page source here. So see if we have the style sheet over there. It's linked over there. So this is the code what we have written. So let's get back to this one, and what we're gonna do is we're going to write some styles. So first thing, I need to check this. I'm gonna specify body, and I'm gonna type in background color as gray. Just go back and refresh. Yes, it works. So what we are going to do is we are going to use our inspect element, this thing, to create style sheets for us so that we can create faster and better, because it has all the core hints and everything. Yeah, even notepad++ has it too, but it's good to use it in this way. So I'm going to come back to the body over. You can check out body. By default it has a margin. Okay, these are the default things, a user agent style sheet. So this is all the default stuff which is already there. So I'm going to customize some of the stuff. For example, I don't need any margins. I'm going to specify margin as 0 pixels. Now you can see it's sticking exactly like where I need. So I'm just going to copy this thing, just come back to my style sheet, just paste it there, and come back and refresh. And what I need is, this is not a like a usual web page which you see on the internet. So what I'm going to do is we're going to resize this. I'm going to make it look perfect. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to first go to the container and click on this plus icon over here, and it will automatically create the style sheet for you. See, whatever you do here will not be saved, so I'm going to copy this and paste it in our notepad++. Can work in a better way. So I'm going to give a background color for this as white. It changed the whole body color. That's because it's a div tag, it's a block element, and everything is being put in that inside that. So I'm going to give a width for this as 1000 pixels. Okay, now if you can scroll down, you can check that we have the web page, but it's kind of not in center. We want it in center. I'm going to give it as margin as auto. That's going to put it in center. Okay, and we have what we need for the container. I'll just copy that, come back over here and just paste it. Okay, we have the container. Refresh to save. So now let's go to the header portion. So inside header we have logo. So what I'm going to do is going to create a new style sheet for logo, new style for logo. I'm going to give width. Well, let's just say that I don't know the width of the actual logo, so I'm going to give it as auto. I'm going to give height as auto, and I'm going to give, you can see it's sticking to the edge. We want some spacing here. For that I'm going to give padding as 15 pixels. See, that does it. Okay, I'm going to give that it should float to the left side. There, now everything is floating to the left side. So you remember, like I told you, that the div does not let any other elements to come side by side. So if I give that div as float left, it's gonna allow the stuff to come beside them. So I'm just gonna copy these things, let's get back over here and paste it. Again, refresh. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the next one, that is your social networking icons. So I'm going to click on this plus icon, create a new style sheet. So I'm going to give same thing, width as auto, height as AUTO auto. I'm going to give a float to the right side. That's it. So I'm just going to copy this. Actually I need some padding too, so I'm going to give padding as 15 pixels. I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. Now you can see my web page is like entirely scrambled. You can see a menu bar is coming side by side and all this stuff. I need to make this icon small. Now if you see, literally we have social, inside that we have an anchor tag and we have an img. So what I can do is I can get inside this, and here I can specify. So inside social I have img. So you don't need to specify an anchor tag here too. So it will understand that whatever the stuff or the img you have inside that social tag or social div tag is going to create those style spots. So for this I'm going to specify width as 30 pixels and height as 30 pixels. Just copy that. Sorry, now refresh that. Yeah, see, it's fitted properly now. Now you see we have some top portion margin here. Let's see what is that. I'm going to right click and inspect element on the blank portion. I think that is the navigation bar which we made. So if we can open up this, see, it's taking that orange stuff like on the top. That is the margin applied for this UL. These are the user agent style sheet. So these are all the stuff it's already predefined. So we're going to style that navigation bar to look much more cleaner and better. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come back to our, okay, I'm going to set this to style sheet and easily copy and paste it. Okay, so inside this menu, so I'm going to create a new rule for this. I'm going to give background color as teal color. Okay, I'm going to give width as 1000 pixels. Height, I'm going to give it as auto because I want the navigation bar to understand what kind of style what I will be giving for that. Now if you can see most of the stuffs are colored, we want it to set it to below. So what I'm going to do is since the logo and the social icons are floating, I need to clear the floating in order to understand that, make the browser understand that the navigation comes next. So I'm gonna just give over here as clear on both the sides that it comes down. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy these things. Let's come back to the notepad++, just paste it. If you can just refresh, see, it's done. Now inside the nav menu, what do we have? We have an UL tag and ordered list. So this is what we'll be styling over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this nav.menu UL, and here inside this we have UL. So I'm going to open up there. I'm going to specify, first I need to get rid of these bullets. So I'm going to specify list style type as none. So that would remove the buttons over there. So now I have some extra space on the top on the left which I need to remove. So I'm going to specify margin as 0 pixels. I'm going to give padding as 0 pixels. Save that and come back and just refresh that. That does the job. Okay, now what we need to do is, I'm just going to inspect over here. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, things are looking pretty great. Okay, so for this UL, I need the list to come side by side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to paste it here. So inside this we have UL, and inside that we have an li. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to tell this to float to the left side. So when I do this, what happens is all the list which is side down by down, it's going to go side by side. But see, we have lost the color. That's the property of floating. So if the floating is occurring, the background color will not be displayed of the parent element. So what we need to do is we need to stop the floating. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class, call it as clear, and I'll call it as clear on both the sides. Okay, inside my HTML, after the UL, I'm going to specify a div with a class, call it as clear. Just come back there and just save that. See, you got the color back. Now we need some height and spacing here because they are like pretty close to each other. So I'm gonna scroll down back. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy these things. I'm gonna get down to this. Now inside this I have an anchor tag that is over here. See, we have nav, ul, li, and inside that we have the anchor tag which is wrapping the element. So we have nav, ul, li, and anchor tag. So we're going to be writing some styles inside this. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to specify this to display as block. So once we do that, the elements are going to display as block. There's nothing going to change, but they're going to start working properly. So I'm going to do padding here, so that will give me some spacing. I'm gonna give it as 15 pixels. Just come back and refresh that. Okay, I need to change the font colors and everything, so I can do that directly over from here now. So you have the styles which I created. So I'm just gonna change the style. So I'm gonna call font family as sans serif. I can give font size as smaller. I can give color as white, and I can give text decoration as none, and yeah, text decoration as none. Yeah, that should do it. So I'm gonna copy these stuff, just come back to my style sheet, and just replace with these things. Done. So but when I hover, nothing happens. What I want is, when I hover this, I want the color to change. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this big link and just gonna put it over here and call it as hover. So when I hover this, the background color should be orange. Just come back over here and refresh. See, when I take my cursor, they are in orange color. Okay, so that's the part for my header, social icons and the navigation bar. So now I need to work on the banner. So to do that, we already have banner specified. So just minimize this. Yeah, you can see the header portion is done. Now we have the banner one. So I'm going to create a new div. So I'm going to create the new style. I'm going to add a tag, width as 1000 pixels, and I'm going to specify height as auto. Okay, that's more than enough. Just copy this and paste it. Okay, so we have the banner ready now. Next we need to work on the content holder. So I'm going to use the content holder. If you open this, you can see that inside that content holder we have content and the sidebar which we created. So I'm going to create a new content holder. So I'm going to give width as 1000 pixels. I'm going to give height as auto. I'm going to specify background color. Let's just specify a good one. We'll be changing this. I don't have to worry about this. Okay, yeah, this much. So I'm just gonna copy these stuff and then I'm gonna paste it over here. Okay, now I need to work on the content which I created. So I'm gonna create a new style sheet over here, and new style for that thing. I'm gonna give width as 750 pixels. I'm gonna give height as auto, and I'm gonna specify the background color as white. Now I need some spacing over this, so I'm going to add padding of 25 pixels. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all these things, just come back over here and paste it, just come back and just refresh. Okay, that's that. So I need to style the h1 and the paragraphs now. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this thing, I'm going to paste it over here, and inside this I have h1. So just copy that, save that. Okay, we have the h1 now. There we have the h1. Okay, we want to specify font family. Okay, our font size, font family as sans serif. That did the job. I'm going to specify margin as 0 pixels. Just going to copy these things, come back over here and just paste this. Okay, next we have paragraphs. So I'm going to go to the same stuff. I'm just going to copy the same stuff, paste it over here. I'm going to call it as P. I'm going to specify, I'm going to come back to the P here, so just save this. Yeah, let's refresh. So you can see for the P we have this thing. So I'm going to specify font size as smaller. The font family is going to be sans serif. That does the job. So I'm just going to copy these stuff and paste it over here. So refresh. Now I need the sidebar to come over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in the sidebar style. So I'm going to create a new style rule. I'm going to specify width as, actually here you can check out what's happened. I give 750 pixels as width and I've given 25 pixels as the padding. So 750 is the actual width of the content. Okay, and 25 pixel is this blank space and this blank space. So calculate like this: 750 the whole thing, and 25 over here, that is 775, and 25 over here, that is 775 plus 25 is like you get 800. So it is taking 800 size. How to make sure? Just right click and inspect this. So if you select it, now you can see on the top portion that it shows 800 into 201.8. so we have that. So now we need to style this thing. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a width as 150 pixels. 150 pixels. I'm going to give height as auto. Okay, I'm going to give float to the right side. Now this thing worked, but it did not go on the top portion because I have not given float for the other stuff. For example, if you see that for the content I have not given float, so let's specify float to the left side. Just come back over here and refresh. Okay, so it's floating now, everything's floating, but we need to add the clear effects, because since things are floating we need to make sure that they stop floating later once we finish the job. So after this content, so after the sidebar, so after the aside, I'm just going to paste this over here and come back and refresh that. Okay, now I have to remove these things. I guess you already know how to do that. So I'm going to go to this one, and inside this you have the UL and everything. So we need to write specific style sheets for that. So just copy this, just paste it over here. So inside this you have UL. Now for UL, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in some styles like list style type. Style type is none. Okay, if you can come back refresh that. See, that thing goes. I'm gonna specify float to the left. It's gonna float. Okay, it's not floating. I don't need floating over there, so I'm gonna specify margin as 0 pixels, padding as 0 pixels. Just come back over there and just refresh. Okay, so we have those stuff.